all of you. As Kishorji put it, 2020, that year, had a grand vision to strengthen us as humanity. And the irony of it is, it just took that Bhagwan one tiny strand of protein called virus to bring us to reevaluate our own life, living, and lifestyle. It completely changed the perspective. When I personally look back at 2020, it brought a lot of factors to the forefront. The first is it requires a lot of strength to be in solitude, to be with one's own self. The second aspect is we teach about simple living. This straight up brought us to that ground reality that simple living is more than sufficient. The next point that I learned from 2020 was for that simple living, without it burning us from inside out, we need to have simple thinking and profound thinking. For the simple thinking to be established in our hearts, our way of perceiving has to change. What I mean by that is, whenever there is a crisis, there are two aspects to it. One, that it has the problem and it has the solution. Now, it is our choice where we align ourselves to. We can be a part of this solution or we can be a part of the problem itself. If we do not realign our thinking, then that which is seen, that which is perceived as problem, we become integral to it. Now, in order to be the solution, so that, as Gurudev says, through us to the world around us, there is peace, stability, and joy that can be given. That can happen only if I am at a stable platform, at a peaceful platform, so that I can be a part of the solution, providing that stability towards others, especially in these kinds of trying times. Now, with all that vision learnt, I am very positive that 2020, bring it on. Out of the park, we'll hit it. As Bhagavan is worshipped as Kala in his own time, in his own words, he says in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Kalosmi loka kshayakrit pravruddha. In the Sanatana Vaidika way of looking, death is not looked upon as a one-time stop. In Gurudev's own words, he says that death is perceived as a constructive destruction. When you sow a seed, that seed loses its seedness to become a plant. The plant further grows with branches and leaves and flowers. The flowerness loses its flowerness to bring out the fruit. The fruitness loses to bring out more probabilities of seeds and thereby continuation. So it is a constructive destruction. Now we have to choose based on our experience of 2020 how constructively we want to rebuild ourselves, rehaul ourselves, so that come what may, we just not survive but thrive. With that said, may this 2021 bring in that stability, that joy, that strength within us, so that we can leap in to this 2021 with the attitude that 2020 has really been one. Therefore, it becomes 2021. I am not much of a singer. So in this corner, you see four lines. This was penned down by our beloved Puja Guruji as the New Year wish. So when Shubhaji reached me and said, "Can we have a satsang?" and we were thinking about various options of what to speak upon, then we were told, why not speak on this? So before I start, let us invoke Bhagwan's blessings on everyone who is here and everyone who is not here as well, because our prayers have always been universal that way. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. So let us invoke with three Oms, Sahanavavatu, Guru Brahma, and then we'll get straight into this four lines and understanding the blessings that Guruji penned for us all. So let us start with three Oms. Om. Om. ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः हरि ओम. I wish, as I said, I could have sung this for you. Kshanam pratikshanam yan navam navam tat cha sundaram sat cha tat shivam varsha nutanam te shubham mudam uttarottaram bhavatu siddhidham. Once I was in a situation wherein I was singing. Yes, I was singing, and Guruji walked in. This was way back when I was still in my brahmachari training course. Guruji walked into that satsang where I was singing, and I quickly closed my eyes. Tension was up high because singing in front of Guruji. I finished, mustered up enough courage to finish the song. Then Guruji looked at me and said, "Mike Lau, get the mic here." So I put the mic in front of him, and he allowed me enough time to go sit and settle. Then he was still looking at me. He said, "His voice should be given on a radio." And I was like, what is the catch here? Then he slowly, very tauntingly, mischievously says, At least there we can turn it off. So after that, I have not attempted singing. So kshanam pratikshanam yan navam navam, may every moment that unfolds bring forth the evergreen newness into that moment, because that moment is alone which brings in Sundaram. Sundaram, the beauty. What is beautiful? That which is Sat, that which is Shiva alone is beautiful. I'm just going through the word meaning. I'll come back to explain it. Varsha Nutanam Te Shubham Mudam. This new year, may it bring Shubha, Shubha, auspicious, Mudam, joyful. That's why we call Ganesh Bhagwan as Mudakarartha Modakam, the one for whom this joy is like something which is straight on the hand, that visible, and that which he can bless us with. So may that be Mudam, joyful. Uttarottaram, day by day, as the year unfolds, Bhavatu Siddhidam, may it be fulfilling, accomplishing, and successful. Kshanam pratikshanam yannavam navam tacha sundaram. As each day opens up, because for us, this Gregorian calendar is one of the events where popularly we celebrate it as New Day. Other than the calendar, we don't have anything more significant to this day to call it as a new year. Traditionally, across various uh, traditions, cultures, when you look at it, they have the new year celebrated whenever there is a shift in equinox, which we celebrated in Yugadi, or which is otherwise known as Ugadi, if you're following luni-solar calendar. If you're following solar calendar, then there is another day. If you're following purely the lunar calendar, there is another day, depending on the movements of the sun and the moon and where earth moves. So once when asked to Gurudev, he said, there is nothing called New Year other than a new moment for a seeker. A new moment because that moment brings in the opportunity for self evaluation and self growth. Now, being in Vedanta, we become very strict. Why? Because we have to have Viveka and Vairagya. Everything is impermanent, everything has to be shunned away, every attachment has to be given up, and we miss out a very significant part. And that significant part is called the Sundarata, the beauty part of it, the beauty aspect of it. Because we become very rigid in our uh, new construct that we create to be a seeker, that we fail to see, appreciate this Sundarata. Sundara is that, again, Sundarata can be described at a sattvic level, at a which is the highest level, then at a rajasic level, then at a tamasic level. Here, Guruji puts it very aptly. He says that alone can be called as Sundara, which is Sat. Now, what is Sat? You may have heard Satyam Shivam Sundaram. That which is Satyam is Shivam, and that alone is Sundaram. Long time ago, when we were talking on Ramayana, Tulsi Ramayana, I had to look up this word Satyam Shivam Sundaram because it was said that when Sant Goswami Tulsidas ji was asked for pramana that there is already Valmiki Ramayana, why do we need your Ramayana? They put it in Kashi Vishwanath, in front of Kashi Vishwanath, and closed the doors. And the next day morning, it is claimed that Bhagwan Shiva himself wrote on that manuscript, Satyam Shivam Sundaram. That it is the signature of Bhagwan Shiva himself. That he approved Sant Goswami Tulsidas ji's Ramcharitmanas. So the history says that it is from that episode onwards. Otherwise, there is no mantra or Upanishadic statement talking about Satyam Shivam Sundaram. There is a statement Satyam Jnanamanantam Brahma Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman. And the mantra continues. But there is no Satyam Shivam Sundaram aspect. So the earliest reference to that word, Satyam Shivam Sundaram, comes from the story of Goswami Tulsidas ji's Ramcharitmanas being approved by Bhagwan Shiva himself. Now, what does this statement say? That which is beautiful can be considered as beautiful if it is Sat. Sat meaning what? Our rishis have been amazing in describing the most difficult abstract concepts in the most palatable, easiest manner. That which we call as Paramatma, Brahman, or Bhagavan is defined as Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat, Chit, and Ananda. The definition should be in such a way that it not only does justice in defining it, but also it must be irrefutable definition. So when they defined that supreme Paramatma, they said it is of the nature of existence. Existence meaning that which exists. Everything that which we experience is experienced only because it exists. This gets covered in our Bhagavad Gita second chapter. Na sato vidyate bhavaha, na bhavo vidyate sataha, ubhayor api drishtontaha tvanayos tattvadarshibhihi. Those who understand this sat have said it very clearly that that which exists not cannot be experienced, and that which is experienced because it exists. So existential reality. Now, when you say existence, it brings in its own uh, steps of logic to make it infallible. It can be called as existence because it is all pervading and there is a non duality about it. There is nothing other than it that can ever exist. If suppose, if suppose there is something other than it, what would it be called? It would be called as non existent, isn't it? Now, if I take this cell phone. I'm touching the cell phone here. I'm touching the cell phone here or anywhere else. When I'm touching something here, it is something other than the cell phone. If this be existence and I'm touching existence all across, if I have to touch something other than existence, there has to be something other than existence to touch. So, what is that supreme? It is supreme because it is Sat, existential in nature. Therefore, it is all pervading. Isn't it abstract? Now, in order to understand this abstractness, all scriptures begin with pointing at that abstract supreme from that which is tangible. You look at the entire 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is named aptly as Vibhuti Yoga. What does it talk about? It talks about this spectacular beauty, that which expresses as this creation. That creation is the expression of that Bhagavan, that Ishvara himself. Therefore, when Bhishma ji is requested by Yudhishthira that, hey, Bhishma Pitamaha, can you explain these following questions to me? To him, as a pointer, Bhishma ji gives Vishnu Sahasranama. Now, what does the title say? Vishnu Sahasranama. 1,000 names of Vishnu. Now, the 1,000 names of Vishnu technically should have started with Vishnu. When you introduce yourself to someone, I am Sarveshananda, also known as AKA. You could call me Swamiji. Right? My AKA is come after my main name. So Vishnu Sahasranama technically should start with Vishnu. But Bhishma ji there starts with what? When I took that reference, because this one stotra everybody has heard. Thanks to MS Subbalakshmi ji, she has pervaded all across. So what does that stotra begin with? Vishwam Vishnur Vashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu Bhuta Krit Bhuta Vridbhavo Bhutatma Bhuta Bhavanaha. What is the first word that it starts with? Not Vishnu. It starts with Vishwam. Vishwam meaning this creation is verily the expression of that Satvastu. That Sundarata in it is verily the expression of that Bhagavan himself. In fact, every aspect of this creation is nothing but that Bhagavan expressing himself. But for our minds to immediately grasp and understand, we are drawn to that grandeur, looking at which our mind is so easily absorbed. Whenever we see this beauty, whenever we see this grandeur, our mind connects with that supreme instantly. Have you ever been to Grand Canyon? So many people talked about it. I was like, what is so grand? I've seen Himalayas, I've seen everywhere, I've seen everything. What is grand about Grand Canyon? I was a little biased against Grand Canyon. So the first time I went, I stood at the very edge, looking at that beautiful depth, various colors, shades, and patterns, and down below a small stream-like thing flowing miles down. It was gorgeous. Whenever mind sees this splendor, what happens? Our mind instantly, all the processing, it comes to a pause. It's in awe. In that awe, what happens? We are connected directly to the core, to the source, that Atma Tattva, like that. That Sundarata immediately connects us to that very core of our own being. Now, here is the trick that Guruji is bringing forth. He says, when our mind is connected to this core of our own being, our vision is enhanced. How is it enhanced? It's like in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks, Bhagwan, please show me your Vishwarupa. And Bhagwan is so ecstatic, he starts showing, look, Arjuna, this is this beautiful part. This is this. Arjuna is like, Sir, excuse me, hello. I can't see anything. Then Bhagwan says, oh, yeah, you don't have that vision, that perspective. And then he says, Divyam dadami te chakshuhu. I'll give you that divine vision. Connecting yourself to the core of your own being, when you see through that perspective, what you see is this grandeur. It's the same creation, it's the same world of happening, but the perspective with which you see, that changes. Isn't that what happens when you go to an ophthalmologist? Before I got these, without these, whatever is on the screen, it is a smudge. So I was in Minneapolis. I was reading the book and I was having a problem. So I was putting it at a distance and looking at it. So this Amma came to me and said, Swamiji, I want you to visit my office. Maybe a new office that they have just started, come there with a prayerful attitude. So I said, okay, I'll come tomorrow. And she was an ophthalmologist, that I realized only after reaching her office. And she had already prepped her nurse. As soon as I arrived, she gave me a sheet of paper and said, please fill in. I said, Amma, what is happening here? Then, trust me, Swamiji, I just want to check something. I'm an ophthalmologist, so I want to check on your eyes. So I filled in the name and address, and I gave it. And I had not filled in the other column in the next side. It talked about my age. So she asked, so what is your age? So that Dr. Amma, without even looking at it, must have been just, over 40. That is when these things happen. I just looked at her, gave her a very, nonchalantly, she just said that. Swamiji, after 40, it happens. So when she tested, she said, see, you have a bifocal. It's not just reading problem, you have a problem with the distance also. And then tested with different lenses. She did not change the world for me, but she changed my vision so that that world can be perceived better. That is what Vedanta, that is what the entire Guru Parampara does to us. What do they promise? Change in this vision so that every moment that I go through, it brings in that newness. When I am connected to that Sundarata. How can I perceive that Sundarata? When I am connected to the core within, which is called the Sat Swabhava. beautiful melodious two lines. There is he just packed the entire Vedantic principle just in those two lines. When can the individual perceive that Sundarata, to see that freshness, newness in every moment? Only when we are connected to that core within, that existential principle within. That is when me participating, interacting with the world around me becomes Shivam. Shivam meaning auspicious. My very presence in this world, interacting with others, becomes auspicious, becomes a solution, becomes a fragrant presence in everyone's life. In our Balavihar system, every Sunday when we get together, we have a couple of things very common, right? We have Guru Stotram to begin with. Then at the end, we have the Chinmay Arati, our gratitude to Puja Gurudev. And then we all stand up, put our right hands on the right heart, and then we stand as one family, bound to each other with love and respect. There, what does Gurudev say? Service to the nation is the service to the Supreme Self. Service to this humanity is service to the Lord of Lords. We know our responsibilities, give us the ability and courage to fulfill them. How can I be the true ambassador, true representative of that Chinmaya vision? That every interaction of mine brings forth this auspiciousness to everyone around, and that fragrance only spreads. It can be a possibility only if we are connected to this Tat Tattva inside, the core of our own being. Then not only that, my perspective of this world has changed to see the newness, freshness, and sundarta in it, but also be the very source of the solution called auspiciousness to everyone that I interact with. What an inspiring line to start our every day, not just the new year, every day. That my pratikshanam is valued. Once we understand this, there is nobody, only a fool would claim that I'm doing time pass. And we Indians, when we sit down, gather together, and we have to pass time, what do? बैठे बैठे थक गए, करना था कुछ काम, शुरू करो अंत्याक्षरी. As if we have time at our disposal. Bhartrihari, in his Vairagya Shataka, he says, Kalo na yataha, vayameva yataha. We cannot pass time. In time, we pass. It is only our audacity to claim that I am passing time. Time cannot be passed by us. In time, we pass. And we don't know how fast it travels. The funny thing about it is theory of relativity in full application. Moment to moment crossing across seems very daunting task. But the moment we turn around, years after years have passed by. In spite of these trying times of 2020, how many of us have not, looked back and said, thank goodness 2020 passed away fast. So quickly it is done. There are people who put their watches 5 minutes ahead of time. Really? Seriously? Just because you have put the time 5 minutes ahead, you can pace up the time or slow down the time. No, it ticks at its own pace. And it is a uniform unifier of everything. Therefore, Bhagavan says, Kalosmi loka kshayakrit pravruddha. I am the very form of Kala. In the Rudra Namaka Chamaka Prashna, we have Om Namaste Astu Bhagavan Vishveshwaraya Mahadevaya Trambakaya Tripurantakaya Trikalagnikalaya Kalagni Rudraya. So he says, I am the very form burning this creation in the format of time. Kalagni Rudraya. For you, it is a reference of past, present, future. For me, it is just a speck of reference. And that's a very strange concept if you're ready for another abstract point. I did not plan to talk about it, but in the flow, if it is coming, I don't want to stop it. Supposing I am in the ground floor and you are on the 10th floor. Okay, we both are connected through our cell phones and we are sharing what we see. Okay. Right in front of me on the road, I see a red car. You on the 10th floor, you can see the red car. You from the 10th floor say, I can see a yellow car coming in. At that moment, it has become that fellow's present moment. For me, it is not my experience yet. In the same time frame, that which is in the present moment for that fellow who is on the 10th floor is not the same present moment for me. For me, it is a future. It is, there is a black car which is turning right on your right. I cannot see. Why? It must be a car that has already passed by, which is my past, but for him it is still in the present. When our mind is lifted beyond the transactionality of our layers of matter to that standpoint from where past, present, future is only a reference point of a speck of a moment. I consciously choose which point I refer to, connect with, and create the probable cause of interaction. Then past, present, future becomes a reference. In that past, present, future, it is an equalizer of everything. Educated, uneducated, wealthy, rich, poor, status, no status. Everybody is consumed and there is no partiality. Just because somebody is rich, time comes, you cannot buy time. You will be consumed in that time. Lucky, we don't believe in YOLO. You know what YOLO means? You only live once. So dealing with this Yuva Kendra, I have to come up with my own acronyms. So I said, we don't believe in YOLO, we believe in YOLAM. Then what is YOLAM now? You only live until moksha. Until then, punarapi jaranam, punarapi maranam. Instead of getting lost in this rut again and again, if we can gain this vision and realign ourselves, this very moment, which seems to be a daunting task to get across, this very moment that seems to be taunting me, becomes the moment where there is freshness, beauty, and joy, provided my perspective is connected to that core within, this connection, as long as I'm disconnected with, however congenial, comfortable environment outside I may have created, will not, cannot bring that joy, satisfaction, and contentment within. A discontented heart, interacting with the world outside, as our pledge again says, giving more than what we can take, producing more than what we can consume. What are we giving? Whatever we have in excess, isn't it? So, what are we giving at this moment? Frustrations, misery, agony, plentiful. But the one who is found this stability connecting to the core within, what does that individual provide? And look at all the stalwarts. One Vivekananda revolutionized the thinking of the youth. One Chinmayananda, for 40 years of continuous effort, there is not a city or a town or a in that generation he has touched every single individual. Now what he has achieved in 40 years, it may take uh, multinational companies to invest a lot and create that infrastructure. He single-handedly, how is that possible that you can give so much? So his words are not empty words when he says to give maximum happiness to maximum people for maximum time. He's talking from that personal experience of connecting to that divine, so that my expression, my interaction with any being around is only Shivam, that it brings forth auspiciousness to every individual that you interact. It's like the wind blowing through the garden carries forth the fragrance, and wherever it goes, it takes that fragrance forth. Our presence in this society, in this neighborhood, when I say to the entire world, only auspiciousness comes. Don't get daunted down by, oh my God, 7 billion population, these many creatures, this much old, arre baap re, pressure, tension. Don't. When the world you talk about, it is the immediate interaction of the scenarios that I am constantly engaged in. At the most of us are engaged in 4 5 scenarios: family, job, children, so their school, friends, spiritual, religious, spiritual, maybe one or two, 5 6 environments that we are constantly interacting with. In those 5 6 environments, at the most about 45 50 people. That is our world. To those 45 50 people, we become the lamp of hope, the point of stability, the cornerstone of foundation and growth. That is called freshness. That is called newness. So kshanam pratikshanam yan navam navam tatcha sundaram satcha tat shivam. That alone comes out as Shivam. This way, Varshanutanam te Shubham Mudam. This year, as it begins, may it bring forth to everyone, if connected to this perspective, if changed, if willing to change to this perspective, may it bring Shubham. Rather, it is almost like a blessing, a boon. If you are connected, then what will happen is Shubham and Mudam. Shubham meaning good, great, and pleasantness towards everything that we interact with. Mudam, with the joy. Joy is something very beautiful. It expands, it grows multifold the more I share. If there is a person sitting in a dark corner somewhere and you go ask, "ए, क्यों भाई ऐसे मुंह क्यों लटका के बैठे हो? Why are you sitting in that corner like that?" I am happy. Do you find any happy person sitting in a dark corner? They'll be jumping out in joy, and everybody that they care for, the first thing, these days, WhatsApp messages, and you can send videos and contact in FaceTime. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm so joyful. Can we meet up? Can we share? Can we? Joy has that nature. Many people say, Swamiji, all this Vedanta talks about is to be in the state of happiness. Once I'm happy, why would I go into this world to interact with ever again? Because today I go into the world finding that happiness. If I'm already happy, I would not put any effort, right? There is a difference. What is the difference? I today, with my wrong perspective, wrong vision, I am going there to loot by looking for happiness, some source. But the one who is already established, there is no more hidden agenda to eke out some joy or pleasure from the world, but rather dil khol ke, ekdam, you know, the open heartedness. I have plenty and I'm ready to share. That is the beauty of joy. May our hearts be filled with that joy that I can share with everybody and anybody. The little joys, what happens? I want to share it only with that which I find meaningful. And I want a certain reciprocation from them also. I'm giving you now, and later when you have to give it to me also, okay? I'm sharing it now. It's like a childish mentality. Though we have grown up horizontally and vertically, that childish mentality has not gone. I'm giving you today, you also give it to me later, okay? That is the mindset. There's a hidden agenda, whether it is between husband and wife, parents and children, neighbors, friends, there is always this hidden agenda. In fact, in my native language, Telugu, there is a saying, when I come to your house, what will you give me? And when you come to my house, what will you bring for me? మీ ఇంటికి వస్తే ఏమి ఇస్తావు మా ఇంటికి వస్తే ఏం తెస్తావు Constantly, that is the hidden agenda. What can I squeeze out of this relationship, this environment, this, right? Because I want to be happy, I want to have that joy, and nobody is willing to give, so I have to pull, push, take. Constantly, that is the mindset. But for the realigned one, the one who is connected to their own core of being, Sat Tattva, they are overflowing, unending fountain of joy. With that joy, wherever they go, they provide stability, peace, joy, and a sense of security. Why a sense of security? Because I am here to give. You don't need to feel insecure that I'm going to take anything from you. That is not the equation at all. And many people, when it is being given as a, this fellow is giving so much, must be something hidden behind. Huh? This fellow must be trapping us for a later time to. And when you find that it is genuinely being given without being expecting or asking back anything, See, that is why even Gurudev, it happened in Tirupati, that they said to Gurudev, you can conduct your yajna, we will conduct it for you. Do not ask for Guru Dakshina. We will pay you. We will give you whatever money. I'm talking in mid 80s, and they were ready to give about 15 or 20 lakhs. And Gurudev said, I am not here for sale. I am not up for my sale here. You will not be buying me out or my discourses. We will have Guru Dakshina. I may be a sannyasi, but I am not a businessman. If I had to organize this for this business purpose, I would have earned a lot. But that is not the perspective that this knowledge and wisdom and this joy is given. And if they find it beneficial, then what they give back so that it supports this vision is called Guru Dakshina. Therefore, you will not be buying me out. You will not believe. They cancelled his program, and Gurudev called the Chennai chicks and Hyderabad chicks, and we all jumped in. And within 15 days, reorganized the program without any support. And it was a grand success, His grace. But the point is that there is nothing as a hidden agenda to gain, to aggrandize. So it creates that sense of security, it creates that sense of stability. Now, my important question is, if there is no stability and peace within, pay attention. If there is no stability and peace within, can anyone ever enjoy any joy in life? You have ice cream in your hand, you're on a long drive, your kids, one is crying, the other two are pulling each other's hair. There's ice cream you want to enjoy. Can you afford to enjoy that? It's a crazy environment. Unless it becomes stable, you will not have the moment to even enjoy. Therefore, Guruji, in his beautiful lines, he says, first, stability, peace, joy. How is it ascertained? Realigning it to that Sat Tattva within. And such one who has made this a priority becomes a auspicious presence for the entire society, for the entire neighborhood, for the entire period of their interaction. Their presence brings that stability, peace, and joy. That is called Siddhidam. That is called accomplishment. That is called success. Most of us have defined success in this cutthroat uh, dog eat dog world, dog eat dog kind of world. We have created this definition for success as ena kena prakarena. However, whatever means doesn't matter. You go get, grab, aggrandize, and own it. Now, there are books. Success is not given; it has to be grabbed. I don't know if you have read those books. I find those titles so hilarious. You are never given that which you never ask. So ask, grab, aggrandize. What will happen? That which has been grabbed, there's somebody else who is eyeing to grab it. However secure you want to keep it, it will be snatched. If you don't believe me, watch Ocean's series. Ocean 8, Ocean 9, Ocean 10, Ocean 11, Ocean 12. Have you seen those series? the most secured places, they will find a method to break it, snatch it, rob it. In fact, even the little lock that we put on our door, it is just our sense of peace of mind. If that fellow wants to steal, can't they find methods? Especially in these kinds of houses that we live in, which are nothing but Lakshagraha, Mahabharata reference. Wax houses that can be cut through and punched through, and but we find a sense of security, therefore we put it. If that sense of security is not there, there is no peace. If there is no peace, there is no mind available for joy. What is success? To be oneself in that stable, peaceful environment with their minds grooved in, connected. And that is contagious. Wherever such mind is, it only breeds an environment of stability. One person changes, and Gurudev puts it beautifully again. He says, if a man changes, an individual definitely changes. If a woman changes, the entire family changes. What an empowering statement. No wonder why Upanishad said Matru Devo Bhava. So if an individual, I change, the entire environment that I'm functioning in is impacted to that stability. And may this new year bring that stability, which is where I can find this Shivatva as an interaction. And my perspective, my vision of everything changes into newness of freshness and sundarata in and everything that I interact with. May my vision be thus realigned that every moment becomes a joyful moment. So that is the wish that our Guruji wishes for all, that this new year brings forth in everyone's life. I hope I could gather the thought and present it sequentially. So I'll stop here, though I was said it is 1.5 is the total time. Beyond this, if I stretch it, it will be like the Indian stretchable theory that you can keep stretching it. But I think here it is compact and good. Back to you, either Praveenji or Kishorji.
Thank you, Swamiji. I think, like you said, I think through the way you interpret this, hopefully all of our visions can be realigned to see the Sundarata in 2021. Given same situation is going to continue outside, but hopefully the realignment will help all of us to enjoy the Sundarata in the new year. And I think this also reminds me that in such innocent looking for simple verses, like you said, Guruji has packed the whole Vedanta and how we can realign ourselves. So in this simple looking verses, and this also brings another way for us to appreciate that we need such ambassadors to interpret such message. So such ambassadors of Chinmaya vision. So I think like Swamiji today provided us, and it's for this the reason, and I think Swamiji mentioned to this also, that I think we have Guru Dakshina that we can offer if this has helped us realign our vision. I think we have the opportunity to provide Guru Dakshina. You can actually go to cmportland.org /support us page. It's also in the email that you got for this meeting. There is a QR code. You can scan that to go and support Chinmaya Mission so that we can bring Swamiji's to help us understand this vision of Vedanta. Um, with that, I want to take this opportunity again to thank you, Swamiji, for this opportunity, and we're really hopeful that we will get the opportunity to listen to you in person soon enough.
Likewise.
Every time you have come, it's been a huge, like you said, I think that presence that you bring has really helped all of us lift ourselves. So hopefully we'll get that opportunity soon.